Hello. Today it is the 20th of the 10th, 2024, and I am making this video because I wanted to review Xenoverse because I decided to get it on the Switch. And as someone who primarily played it on the PC and before that PS4, I feel like I have some unique insight, but also just I want to talk about just what it feels like starting again in the current year. And this video is kind of a combination of like skills I've picked up editing and just things like that, so enjoy.
5 minutes later.
Goes what I think of it. Basically, first off, I enjoy it, especially revisiting it, because you basically go through the entire story of Dragon Ball Z, then the two movies, then it kind of Xenoverse end of story like recap with like Tora and Mira. So you follow the Saiyan Saga, Frieza Saga, Cell Saga, Buu Saga, Battle of Gods, Revival of F, and then Xenoverse story. It also weaves out movie stuff occasionally, and there's like characters like Stylus and Slug, Bardock. Yeah, Bardock's in there. Broly, you can throw in the clip. So yeah, it weaves in and out. I think Metal Cooler shows up as well. So it has enough like references where it's like, it's not enough for you to go in there and go, oh, I know what the Dragon Ball story is now, but it's like, if you're a fan, it's pretty cool. And then beyond that, in terms of like missions throughout the like Konton City stuff, it's pretty good. Like, you unlock Super Saiyan by going to Capsule Corp. You unlock all the other transformations for each individual race at their respective areas. So Namekian Hub, humans, the Hercule's house, for Frieza race, it's the Frieza Force like spaceship, and then for the Buu race, it's the like Buu's house. And yeah, so there's a lot of lore stuff of why each thing is doing, etc. But basically, yeah, it does its own thing. There are some like lore things that it takes from Heroes, but it definitely feels unique in terms of like what it does, even though there are things where it's like, as a Dragon Ball fan, you're like, oh, this may be confusing or whatever, but if you take the time to like follow the story, that everything you need to know is in there. And if you want extra information of why these things are happening, there's like the Heroes games, the like mangas and stuff, there's things to look up. It's like, I've heard people say, oh, why are you making stuff up to add into Xenoverse? It doesn't need to be that complicated. But those people typically are just fans of just Dragon Ball, the anime, and some of the games. They don't know heroes and stuff, so they're just like assuming it's made up when it's like you're essentially not giving it a chance, which can be frustrating to some degree. So yeah, that's the story, and we'll get into other stuff in the next section. Okay, just so I don't miss anything, I wanted to add some last clarification. When I said the Xenoverse recap or conclusion is what I meant to say, but also Toa and Mira are the main villains of Xenoverse 1, or kind of. They're like the introduction to like the Demon Realm stuff, and then you fight the final villain of that game. And I'm not going to give spoilers for it because I may play the DLC for Xenoverse 2 that recaps it. But anyway, basically throughout the story, they're the ones doing all of like the weird fucky shit with the timeline, and the conclusion at the end is you going to where they're hiding and fighting them and finishing off the game. So that's basically what I meant, because Bardock is basically, but they like kidnap Bardock at the end of his timeline and like brainwash him, and they essentially explain how he ends up in Heroes, which is a whole separate like Japanese IP of Dragon Ball, which we don't really get in the West. So yeah, basically that explains that you go to they are the final boss of the game, essentially. So I just wanted to add this section in so there's absolutely no confusion, because I just watched it back in editing and it seemed a bit all shaky. Yep. Okay, this is part 2 of the video, Konton City missions. Basically, these are, I've lumped in anything you do where the main interaction is through being in the main like hub. So basically, you first off, to start with for the first clip, because why not, you have different like masters you can train with. So lots of characters from the show, so Vegeta, Goku, Gotenks, all like some of the androids, like there are a bunch of them, and you basically do 4 missions. You get 3 super attacks, 1 ultimate from each one, and even some because of when the game came out, Hit is in the main roster of the main game, so you can get all of Hit. You can get all of sometimes it's different. So with Hit, you get 4 supers, 1 evasive, and it makes the final fight, the final like mission with him harder, because you basically have to kill him with an evasive. But his evasive does damage, so it can be done. So basically, yeah, there's missions like that. There's also missions where you fight random time patrollers and you'll get Dragon Balls from those missions. And because of the new AI, it makes it more challenging, and so you have to fight NPCs like they are real characters because of how much the AI has improved. You also get the, because I was talking about this in the first part, the different areas where you get, you unlock your awakened skills, but also with like, for example, Guru, when you get past a certain stage, he unlocks your potential, which increases your level and how far you can put points into each category. So with this example, instead of max 100, max 125, and that was the base for a while, including the base level being 80. Then they bumped it to 99. Then they bumped it to 120, and now it's 140. And I basically need to, where I'm at now, I need to complete the story to get further with my level. And throughout this video, we'll see how far that goes. But yeah, this section basically, yeah, this bit, for example, is fighting someone to get a Dragon Ball, and sometimes there can be 3 people, and it can be pretty tricky, but it's always on this stage, so yeah. I enjoy this because it makes all the kind of, on top of there being actual players who are out and about, this makes the city feel like alive, like you're doing activities and stuff. And then as time goes on, because you're essentially like a veteran character, you don't necessarily do these missions, so you're just like hanging about, you're there, and other stuff that I'll get into later, because I'll make a separate section for other things that I missed in the first part, because on top of I haven't actually unlocked it yet when I'm making this, but you know, we'll get to it. Also, just to add, since I've got time now, is one of the things I really like and appreciate now playing it for the third time is there are certain moves I always just like didn't use, and now go back to and go, oh, I've already played this, so I immediately know what outfits I want, what moves I want, and things I've never used that I want to try, combo routes I didn't go down, and things like that I've just experienced, and now retreading things gives me an opportunity to adjust accordingly. So yeah. Okay, this section is going to be about endgame content, excluding going into detail about parallel quests, raids, and I think that's it. Everything else I'll go into detail. So first off, the main story of like you defeat the two main bosses, and you get Goku appears, and there are two routes you can go down, and you can replay, so you'll see if you play it, if you get the game. You'll either be able to overwhelm Mira in the final fight, so you'll end up finishing off, or you'll defeat him, and depending on the condition, so I assume if you're low health, or the fight dragged on, from my experience playing it, your Goku will be the one to finish him off. So it will either be Goku just outright finishing him off after taking the egg back, or Goku will take the egg back and then tell you to finish off the fight based on how you did. So like in parallel, I'll go into parallel quest and we'll loop back. So yeah, that's the story. But in terms of content, you'll finish off parallel quests, and then that's when you'll go into like DLC stuff, because you'll be this is the point where you get more levels, because you would have naturally completed all of the different hubs for each individual race, and that's how you get higher levels. So how I had to look up guides and stuff again because of how long it's been. You need to do your main hub, so depending on the race you are, so if you're, say I'm a Saiyan, so I did all the Saiyan stuff default because I wanted to get all the moves, but let's say you're Frieza race, get golden transformation, but you need to complete all of the other ones, because it allows you to unlock Guru's leveling. So you'll first unlock max point distributing of going from 100 to 125, then you unlock level 85, then 90, then 99, then 120, 124, since each update buffs it, and it all comes out. So when you replay it seems kind of like chronological, it kind of makes sense. And I think the last two, 120 and 140, it's not with Guru, you speak to Whis after giving him a parfait you can buy in the item shop. So it's way more simple, because it's an extra thing, and it's linked with Whis, because a lot of the new stuff is linked to Whis in terms of how you get it. And he's like a master, like back when you saw the clip of like training with Android 16, you do missions with Whis and you unlock his moves, and same with Beerus, but with Whis it has a lot more like gameplay mechanics involved, because you need to speak to him to unlock certain things. Like you go to him to unlock Blue and Super Saiyan God and Evolution, because that's how that works. So yeah, that you've got that. You've got online parallel quests, in terms of there's a specific guy next to the steps you walk up to Konton City with. So basically, you speak to this guy in I think like a big hat, and he'll give you a bunch of options of like either raids, crystal raids, and then quests. Quest is where you go to unlock to get to grind for Z capsules, and they're like 6-star items that you can't get anywhere else, and the only use they have is to make 6-star QQ bangs. And QQ bangs are basically this thing they added that means that your stats are not exclusive, your buff stats are not exclusively tied to your outfit. So you put this over your in your QQ bang slot, and it overwrites your clothes, so you can wear whatever clothes you want. And that's basically how they fixed that issue that Xenoverse 1 had back in the day when the game first came out. And you go to like Balmer to do that. And I think, yeah, if you're not playing online, you don't really need like the 6-star QQ bangs. They're kind of if you want the extra buff, it's nice to have them. And if you play online, I would just recommend doing it because it's just fun to like grind for something new. You can also craft them as well with demon crystal raids and the like 5-star equivalent of those items. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I'm missing anything. Yeah. The only thing I'd say in terms of like the endgame story is, initially it was kind of annoying that like, oh, of course Goku shows up, you can't like save the day by yourself. But it's a Dragon Ball game, and in terms of other games I've played, it's a lot less intrusive. Like, I think there's a Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet I played where like Kirito showing up definitely felt more jarring than this, because it just basically felt like everyone was singing his praises, where here they treat Goku like Goku. So I think that's literally the only thing I would have a problem with personally in terms of the story. Because yeah, it is like pretty simple, but like in terms of like it tweaking a few things, I think it's a solid introduction into how crazy heroes get. So I understand why they went down this route. Yeah, I shall see you in the next part. Okay, so this section is going to be about parallel quests, and I'm going to talk about the base game and the DLC because we've got past the end game. So basically, parallel quests are missions you do enable you to have basically all of the ultimate attacks and moves from the show. So like, except for there'll be a caveat for any moves you get from your like masters. So like, you can't get Super Kamehameha from anyone apart from like Goku, but the base Kamehameha I think is from one of the first few parallel quests, or like is a base part of like your base moves, like because you have to have something. So yeah, basically you do these missions, they'll have different ways to complete them. Some of them you'll be able to complete them by collecting Dragon Balls, and then others you'll need to defeat enemies. There'll also be secret ways to complete them that will enable you to Z rank and ultimate finish the mission, which will give you a higher chance to get the move, or will either give you a higher chance of getting the move or be the way you need to get the move. So, and you can also do the parallel quest with any character you have unlocked or any DLC character you have. So for example, with this one, because I did a raid, which again something I'll get into in the next bit of the video, I was able to get a partner key for GT Goku, so I have a custom GT Goku I can now use for parallel quest or raids in the future. And so anyway, back to the parallel quest. Yeah, so you do these and they get progressively harder because the base game is designed for level 80. So if you just max out your level, these will be relatively easy. There's just a lot of them. So it probably helped to get started with, to like try and do all of them as you get newer ones. Whereas I just like grinding, so I'll just breeze through the story and then do all the parallel quests to level up and like grind and stuff like that. So yeah, and then you'll see now I'm using my character to do the story, and I wanted to be thematic, so I started off mainly using Kaioken, and then because I didn't want to use Super Saiyan 3 because like canonically Super Saiyan 3 is not great in this game. You get more power but your stamina is awful, and this game entirely relies on stamina, so it can be very frustrating. So then later on I got Super Vegeta 1 and 2 from Vegeta after like finishing his route in the Capsule Corp area to like unlock Super Saiyan and stuff. And yeah, basically the more you unlock, the more it helps you in terms of going through the questions and like grinding and leveling up, but also just understanding the game. So throughout my playthrough, this main playthrough anyway, there was a raid going on. So the more I did like power, I was able to level up really quickly because there was a raid that gave a massive amount of XP that you like do online. But also just because I already familiar with the game, just trying out new things and like doing different stuff. So as time goes on, even past this video, you'll probably see different abilities, and you even see different abilities on PC, but yeah, I'll be able to like talk about them later on. So this is kind of just like the base first impressions and deep dive review of like things. As time goes on, I will make more like reviews and things, like I'll probably go through the DLC and stuff. But yeah, in terms of parallel quest, base game level 80, DLC 99 is probably where you want to be, just for safety if you're new, but that's what they're designed for. And then the further you go, the newer the DLC, the more you're basically going to be max level for when it comes out. So anything comes out today, like modern year, next year, you're going to want to be max level, which is 140. And I've never got to 140. I've got like close to 120 or just 120, but never got to a new one because I had not played Xenoverse in a while because of how the PC port was in certain areas. But because of the Switch now, I'm getting back into it. But yeah, basically that's the main goal of Parallel Quest, is to get certain clothing for each character when like either DLC comes out or just base game. If you want certain clothes like Goku and Vegeta's Wii you get from grinding specific missions, like even Goku's base outfit you get grinding missions, different like wigs for some reason. I'm not going to question wigs in a game where you want to transform and change your hair color, sure. But yeah, there are, and some of the missions can get weird. Like there's one where you specifically like fight a really tanky Yamcha, and you literally get this version of Yamcha. He's not as good as he is in this mission, but yeah, basically all of your moves are like super nerfed in terms of how much damage they do, so it's a bit of a threat. Yeah, so stuff like that gets developed, considering wacky, like when you get to like Beast Gohan stuff, they're like different. They introduce certain characters in different ways in the parallel quests in terms of even to the main story, which can be fun. So on top of serving a purpose in game, it's also like interesting in terms of lore implications of like, oh yeah, you're not just like cleaning up history on the base level, you're also doing a little more in terms of like you have like a day-to-day job almost kind of thing. Yeah, that's it. Okay, we're in the final stretch of this video, and I think the only thing left to cover is raids, and I'm going to talk about raids, base game raids, and then online raids as an event, and anything else I want to cover, I'd probably want to put in a different video, because I wouldn't have the footage, and I would want to make a full video if certain events come back or DLC later on, you get etc. Basically, raids will go online, since that's the footage you're seeing. Online raids are events that show up, and they will show up specifically in an area, and the game will notify you when events going on, and they'll be themed after certain characters. For this one, Vegeta, because now basically all of Vegeta's forms for GT are in the game. He goes from base form, Super Saiyan, and then Super Saiyan 4, and he'll progressively change how he plays, to the point where in Super Saiyan 4 he'll have super armor and be really tanky and basic, and throughout the stages he'll be hard to fight compared to like the average person, but he'll get more super armor and do more damage as time goes on. So instead of just taking damage like he does at the start, he will just walk through everything. So it will get more progressively more and more difficult and challenging as time goes on. And yeah, that's how offline raids work, and you need to get a certain amount of points to get rewards. This one I think is a smaller raid, so there's a version of the game that is free that will give you limited content that these raids will be compatible with. So if you want to play Xenoverse for free, there's a light version that's almost like well, it's not the demo version, it's a literal lighter version. There are certain things you can't do, which I assume would be like story and things like that. So you can still play raids and other things, and yeah, so it will be for those. And the bigger raids will be harder, but also have bigger rewards. So I think with this one, I didn't check the rewards, but I don't think I did it enough to get a lot, because I only got like 50 TP medals, and I did it like, I guess, something close to 10 times. Didn't farm as much as I like typically do, but to be fair, it was like, oh, it's a nice opportunity. I didn't think I should do it because I wanted to be max level, but yeah. And okay, now we're getting into part offline raids, which is like base game raids. This is how you would farm TP medals and XP for leveling. So these are raids that introduce somewhat near the end of the story mode. So after Boo Saga Battle of Gods area of the story mode, the Supreme Kai of Time will speak to you and show you raids you can do. They'll start off light and they'll progressively get more and more challenging, and they're introducing you to how raids work, and then it will help so you understand what's going on in terms of raids. And there are specific raids that are good for either leveling or getting TP medals, and there are only two, and they're both based around Goku and Vegeta, and it's because of the time limit, like, so it's the cost to time input of like XP, so like they are both near the like harder to do but quick to do as well, so you can hop back in over and over if you're playing offline, or it's easy to get in if you're in a lobby with a group of people and you just want to grind. So on both fronts it's really good for like grinding no matter what state of the game you're in. Also, when you play online you'll get more TP medals, so that's also why doing those specific raids that are just available all the time. Yeah, so that's basically it. Event raids will give you rewards that like exclusive to those until like Super TP medals came out, and you can buy some of those rewards. But yeah, the easiest way to do them is just wait for a raid. It's not worth getting the TP medals. If you want to get TP medals, like Super TP medals, go for it. I personally don't care, because I feel the game gives you enough customization when it comes to clothes, and enough that a color change wouldn't make a difference personally to me. But if that's your thing, go for it, mate. I'm not going to stop you. But yeah, in conclusion, raids are like a key part of end game content and just in general, because they are a fast way of leveling up, and also a lot of the raids have ultimate attacks that are really useful in terms of like PvP or whatever you want to do. So, and they will be linked to those raids. So they're almost like a leveled up version of parallel quests, and it gives you something different to do that isn't just a parallel quest. So yeah, it's its own. It's like compared to Xenoverse 1, it's a kind of bigger challenge and especially if you're new to anything Xenoverse, it gives you a bigger challenge to overcome. And most of the time in the online raid, also, as you just saw, you won't clear the raid because of how much health the character has. But you can get lucky and get a raid where the character's health is really low. And I think globally, like how much damage people do affects that, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. Because from my experience, it's just random. But it is a possibility that could affect it. Anyway, that is the final thing. Section on the conclusion. Okay, so today's date, 21st of the 10th, 2024, and this is me wrapping up the video, adding some stuff in the background for a bit more clarification, because you'll understand what I mean if you ever watch Dragon Ball. That guy in the background's Boo, and then later on there'll be clips of me showing a list of skills you can get. But basically, I want to say thanks for watching if you made it this far, but also just, this is my highest effort video, I feel like, even with like drawing stuff or like art stuff, because I've essentially grown up with these games for the past like 10 years, and I feel like I have a unique insight even though this is like a different platform. But basically having a Dragon Ball game you really love and are passionate about in the palm of your hand is a very unique experience, and even though I didn't touch on it, I feel like that's a more personal thing that I don't think is relevant to the information I'm providing. If you like this video, and also you like Dragon Ball and RPGs, I would recommend it. If you are the type of person who likes graphics and like high fidelity in their like games, and you're a Dragon Ball fan or you want to get into Dragon Ball, I would recommend Sparking Zero, because the only downside of this game is even though there's new stuff coming out and the animation is good, it has a specific art style because it was originally a PS3 generation game, and they've kept that. But also, this game came out in 2016, so the animations on the base are evidently so. If you don't care, it's great, but if you're a visual person and you need those visuals, I wouldn't recommend it. But if that, you can get past that, I think it's a fun game. Do I think it's like a perfect game? No, it has various problems. Online can be a bit annoying because there's metas and stuff, but ultimately, I think if you like RPGs in a Dragon Ball way, and you don't mind like the RNG of like you did everything and you may or may not get the thing you want, you will enjoy this game. If you don't like that and you're not a fan of RPGs, you're not going to like it. And it turns out a lot of the fan base in terms of Dragon Ball has a lot of like either normies or normally adjacent. So in terms of RPGs, I hear a lot of negativity around this game because of that. And I don't think it's the game's fault. I think it's like basically the audience is not used to the type of game that like an anime would attract or be built around. And I don't think that's like a good or bad thing, I just think that's just a thing. So yeah, thanks for watching. I shall see you on tomorrow.